like your credits went through just fine. Fantastic. Now, where was I? Right. You were asking about the mercs, Nox Solaris. Well, friend, you have come to the right man. Been their humble street pharmacist since just after they got together. Some of my best clients, by the way. But more importantly for you, they're the best there is at what they do. I mean, what a group. Leader's a bona fide Atlantean voyager. That's right, Atlantean. Then there's the spooky techno-wizard cyborg genius. Finally, a mystic smithy giant. 12 feet tall if he's an inch. Not to mention the mountain of a spirit bear he calls brother. Now, I can get word to him if you're looking to hire Mister. No problem there. Just let old Blitz give you 2 tiny tips for your health. First, don't get on their bad side. Make sure you have payment ready to go, and don't try to pull any bullshit, or you're worse than dead. And second, don't piss off that fucking bear.
Finally, there you are. The Nexus had just enough power to fuel one more try. The last step. The Megaverse knows my Atlantean people as heroes, but a shadow of chaos has taken root in me. They try to bind it. They try to bury it. But when I finally called out to it, to you, from across the void, you answered, I am ready.
Welcome, traveler, to the Black Shore.
Your shame reaches a mother's heart, even beyond the veil, little brother. My sister saw and mocked her as the darkness closed in. She giggled and synthesized honey-sweet tones while leaning close to softly breathe her venom into my ear. And so, with judgment passed and tourniquets in place, my family commanded the automated surgical bots to neatly slice both arms and legs from my torso. The harsh lights overhead swam and dimmed before my eyes, as flesh and bone were replaced with cold, unfeeling metal to cripple my connection to the arcane. Now, my family lies far behind my path, and I follow a new teacher as she whispers from the darkness ahead. Her voice haunts me with promises of forbidden knowledge and wonders precious beyond compare. Each step brings me closer to my prize, closer to my revenge, closer to her.
Nah, brother. My eyes read the stars as keenly as your ancient ones do. It is almost here. E is almost home. And with him comes the end for our proud and noble Vana countryman, along with the rest of the souls on this world. As his foul shadow falls upon us all, we alone stand for those who cannot. So rise, son of Aku. Our ancestors smile upon us this night as they call us home. Come and let us earn our place amongst the stars above.
Welcome, welcome. We are back with the Prism of KeterFall RPG campaign. We are here with our players who are playing their respective characters, Ymir, Hakama, and Ren. We're going to dive right in today and get right to the action. The players have finally escaped from the Wandering Aristocrat, a multi-dimensional commerce hub, into the foot of the Bitter Creep. They are on the outskirts of this really deadly and chaotic weather phenomenon and environmental catastrophe. They find themselves today standing at the kind of head of a great valley. There's a slow, almost gelatinous kind of liquid river that is flowing towards them from off in the distance. The movement of this is obfuscated a little bit by the strange lighting phenomenon that they're seeing up ahead in the sky. This river, the water looks to be perhaps partially frozen, and at the distance that you're at, you're just getting a huge scintillating kaleidoscope of light kind of flooding from the surface at below ground level while the same phenomenon is coming from above. This whole thing has a kind of hypnotic quality that you guys all take notice of. And as you're watching the buffeting of the Arctic winds and frigid, frosty, cold air, as well as whatever these kind of toxic particles that seem to be mixed in with, colliding with this energy source, this light source in the sky above, and this kind of shielding effect is taking place where you're standing seemingly on the other side of some kind of giant snow globe that's containing the fury of these forces within. As you look up in the sky, once again, you notice this phenomenon in all of its glory, and you realize that any kind of force that could hold back that much just sheer power must be incredibly advanced and fueled by some kind of extremely potent source of either magic or technology. As you look up ahead, you would say that this phenomenon is not taking place more than perhaps 2 to 3 miles away from your current position. As you look up into the sky in other directions, you just see swirling lights of all different shades. you see that for the most part, the weather is relatively calm where you are right now. Temperature is roughly 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Nothing too awful terrible for the average human, and since you guys are mainly made up of sterner stuff than that, nobody is in any way uncomfortable. A low kind of grumbling roar is unleashed from Ymir's huge spirit bear companion as he puts his nose to the wind and immediately regrets his decision. He lowers his head and emits that kind of distasteful growl in response to the obviously even slightly present toxicity coming from beyond this protective veil. Right away, he looks up at you with kind of concerned eyes, Ymir, and almost seems to be looking for some kind of reassurance. You could tell that by his reaction, this could indeed be an extremely toxic environment up ahead, and knowing the incredibly sturdy stuff that Ymir or that Wotek is made of, sharing so much time, he and Ymir in the frigid wastes surrounding their homeland, as well as their adopted home here on Rift's Earth. He's encountered many, many different varieties of what you would call caustic and detrimental agents. In all of this, usually his reactions are much more tame than what you're seeing now. So for a moment, you definitely take pause as you realize that this could be something pretty serious. As we finish kind of looking around, the only other really interesting factoid that you're noticing just out of a quick glance is that there appears to be some large structure in the distance that almost seems to be centered directly under that brilliant light source that seems to be taking place, creating this protective shell. You cannot, however, see necessarily any kind of real barrier between you and the light source. So you would guess that whatever this kind of protective layer is, it may not even have a physical component down at ground level. So you may not have to necessarily get through some huge mystical dome or anything like that. All right, as you guys look around, you do realize that it is, what did we say? I think it's midnight, actually.
Okay.
Yeah,
because you had slept into the middle of the,
Yep.
yeah. So
Yep.
it's midnight, and as you guys are looking around, you notice that as of right now, it actually seems like it should be much colder than it is in this proximity, just from judging what the Bitter Creep's effects were like on your way over to intercept the waypoint to the Wandering Aristocrat. So that 50 degrees being kind of in the middle of the night and all of that, you are all starting to guess that whatever that light is, it may be actually shedding some kind of warmth as well. So anyway, with all of that being said, we're going to go ahead and open things up.
El Nino. That's probably El Nino fucking around, you know. The manifestation of El Nino.
So I'm going to open this up. What would everybody like to do right now? I think Ymir, you are not on Wotek. You're both
walking,
next to
I'm
each
walking
other.
walking beside him, yes.
Okay, and we've got both Akama and Ren inside Ren's kind of, what are we calling it? The exploration rail? The I don't know what you want to, his combat vehicle?
Yeah, I mean, it's lightly combat ready. It does have defenses, but I'd say exploration rail. I mean, would be probably.
Or,
Close
you know.
Okay. All right. So, as you look around, what would you guys like to do? Totally open.
So I mean, if they're walking, because I figured the vehicle will be more the lines of if we're driving fast. So if he's walking with Votech, I mean, might as well walk too.
Well, I mean, this Wotech can move probably faster than you can just because of the pure size of its stride.
35 miles an hour.
Yeah,
Bear
but
can run.
you said walking. You're not running.
No, we just the only reason why I said walking is because we just crossed that barrier from the wandering
Okay.
aristocrat to where we were. So we're
So we're gonna
basically,
start driving
yeah.
now.
Yeah, you guys,
Okay.
you haven't moved forward. We haven't established where we ended off last time. It was basically like we just got off the transport. We just phased over. We saw this scenery, this backdrop, and that's where we were. We hadn't started moving.
If you want a comma, you can just kind of ask, or you can ask Ymir if he's gonna, mount up and move at speed, or if he's gonna just kind of walk, or
I'm making
Driving
more of
donuts
the
around
lines
him.
of like this. Is there how much has technology grown? Are there still satellites in the air? Like, do I have GPS?
No,
No, right?
yeah.
So
pretty much anything that requires satellites does not work.
Does magnetism still work? Compass wise.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Now, keep in mind though that pretty
It's
much
just that
everything gets
I'm in here,
fouled
I don't know where the
by
fuck we are.
magical fields.
Of
So
course.
if you're in any kind of strange kind of shit, there's lots of
No,
ways.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Obviously, you guys,
Yeah.
you guys know.
Yeah. I mean, shit. I mean, I'm just gonna be chilling in the car because I don't know where we're going. I mean, I could pull up a map, but I don't know where we are. I don't have any sense of anything. I don't have.
Yeah.
Didn't we
you-
get it? We
you-
got it.
you
Didn't we get a
guys-
digital?
Yep.
We've got it
Absolutely.
uploaded on our map.
Yeah, you got the information from
Yeah,
Blitz.
yeah. But when we warped to this area that we are in, we're not like warped in the fridge city.
No.
Can I look? I want to look around to see where we at.
I pull out a compass and it points straight at the belt buckle of Ymir, and I'm like, oh, this isn't gonna work.
Every time you point at his belt buckle, the needle just spins in a
Compass spins.
circle.
I think this compass is broken.
So everybody should be on the map page.
Yep.
And if you guys take a look, you were just deposited right here at the foot of the creep. I think if I double tap this,
I didn't see a ping or anything.
are you not seeing that ping?
I see no ping.
Nice.
I mean, I see that little moving animation thing. That's the frost. Can't read it because it's got a
frost base spark.
I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
that's the only thing I see moving besides like the ley lines.
Did that?
This thing.
That ping. Okay, I saw that.
That's mine.
Okay.
Are we over here?
Oh, my bad. It's because I am on GM layer. My bad. There we go.
So we're right there. Yeah.
Okay.
That's where I thought we were.
Okay. Yeah.
We gotta
Actually,
go
last
see.
session I was confused too because there was no ping, and I was like, I guess we're that dot, but
My bad,
Alright.
guys. Yeah, if you ever don't
No
see
worries,
it, let
no
me know.
worries.
I'm just
and
making
then
sure. That's all red. Yeah, we're going that way.
That's where you guys are heading,
Oh, we gotta go east.
and
Okay.
it should be. Let me see. It should be. Whoa. An instant.
Yep,
Oh shit.
that popped up.
Like this. There we go.
Yeah, I was gonna do that. That was
So
terrible.
8.2 roughly to that area. Okay, with that being said, now that you guys know where you are, let's go ahead and head back over.
We're only 8.2 miles away, but it's also probably not the best terrain.
There we go.
This is nothing compared to Siberia. This is child's play.
Now, you guys, you would estimate that the vehicle that Ren is operating would probably be able to make along kind of like the shoreline, because indeed the fridge, the location you're heading towards, is beyond that light source in the distance. You would guess that along this kind of terrain, your vehicle, Ren, would be able to make roughly about 10 miles an hour,
Okay.
just without any kind of issues or anything. That's taken plenty of time to kind of look up ahead, make sure that you're taking the path of least resistance, that kind of thing. If you'd like to bump that up to about 20, you're going to definitely be needing to make some control check or some, piloting checks here and there. And you won't be very alert as to what's up ahead of you relative to kind of what you feel would be safe. A lot of that is because the verticality of the terrain is really going to come into play, and when you're rounding even kind of relatively shallow hills and angles, it's just going to make you coming down on something the wrong way probably a lot more likely.
I should have installed the animal tires that have the claws that come out to help me get over rocks.
Right.
Nothing can stop the animal.
Nothing can stop it. All right, so
Ymir would like to respond to Wotek's his vocalizations, his sort of concern. He sees the look after his brother turns his nose up to the wind and gives him the signal like there's something foul around here. Ymir kind of gently kneels down, pats him on the chest twice, and goes, "There's something foul on the air, brother. No. You let me know if you need your mask any time, and I will get it for you. Your safety and your companionship will be needed, most definitely in these next form, in the journey ahead."
okay.
Real quick, Odin, my vehicle would have some type of sensory to detect if there was if it was bad air or bad for breathing or other things because of the conditions that I was working in the past. Would I have some type of
Yes,
notification?
We had spoken a minute ago about like a medium kind of loadout, and
Yeah.
I feel like that would definitely be included. It's not going to have a lot of passive sensors that are going to give you a whole lot of information on what's going on, but it is going to have an emergency like idiot buzzer that's going to be like hostile toxins detected.
Sure. Okay.
Da 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 da. So, okay. So as you say this, Ymir, Wotek is looking at you very thoughtfully, and he seems to completely be bolstered by you trying to kind of be, kind of supportive in that sense. And as he kind of stands up a little more stout and prepares for the journey ahead, you can tell that he's in complete agreement and he's going to make sure that you know if there's an issue. He also he also casts Commune with Nature. And as he casts this spell, he looks around, nods at you first, almost in kind of acknowledgement and to let you know that he's about to see if he can be kind of helpful to the party as a whole. As he does so, some of the mystical energy just subtly kind of flares up in his eyes, as you can tell that he is truly getting in tune with the environment around you. As he does so, a strange effect seems to occur. The kind of resonance of this spell being cast by Wotek, it seems to be almost like a pressure wave that expands out from him, fast as lightning. But as this wave kind of washes over you, you feel a resonance in the enchantment, and you indeed, as an Atlantean tattooed voyager, you feel a portion of what Wotek experiences as well. You also identify that there is incredibly potent dimensional distortion going on in the area around you. And as you're just naturally kind of reaching out with your senses that have been honed by thousands of different dimensional transitions over the course of your young Atlantean life, quite a robust number of years for a mortal indeed, but for your kind, you're still something of a young and fairly inexperienced individual. You right away are able to just sense that distance and time are stretching and being distorted the farther into that area where the light you're seeing is emanating from. And right away, what you pick up is that this could indeed be a much longer journey than what your map is relaying to you. Now, you also are quite concerned by the kind of temporal warping and shearing that seems to be going on as well, but without investing any real PPE into casting something or using your enhanced sensing abilities. That's about all that you're gleaning. Wotek kind of glances around, almost kind of glassy-eyed for a few moments, as he kind of looks up at the sky, and you see, all of you are able to see the kind of dancing colors going across the huge glassy orbs of his eyes, as he seems to be almost entranced for a moment by the world around him. As his eyes refocus, he looks over at you in particular, Ymir, and he lets out a very low, concerned kind of bellow. As he does this, your familiarity with him definitely conveys to you that he is also sensing environmental dangers far beyond what just the toxin and the cold may present. You also see that he steps forward pretty forcefully, and he appears to take the lead in your group, very quickly kind of marching out in front of Ren's rail. And as he does so, he glances back over his shoulder at you, Ren, in the driver's seat, and he kind of just does like a very slow kind of nod, and then kind of hikes his shoulder out, or hikes his head back across his shoulder out in front of him, almost as if to convey, follow me. As he does this, he immediately begins kind of cutting off to the right, and you see that he seems to be walking forward slowly at first, but he's trying to convey that he wants to go far away from the surface of the water and cut inland a good bit, even though it may take a little bit longer on the path, than it would much closer to the shore. At this, I'll leave it up to you guys. That's what's happening. If anybody wants to take any kind of action, go for it.
I'll follow Wotek's instruction. Does the terrain seem a bit more difficult here?
It is. It is. You would guess that this is probably going to slow you to about maybe 8-7 miles an hour on average, getting some much larger rock outcroppings that'll have to be navigated around, and things on average are just a little more steep, both up and down.
Okay.
So,
could I fix some of the inclines and declines possibly by using carpet on my vehicle's tires to just grip better and keep the pace a little bit smoother?
100%. Let's go ahead and check what the time span on that is. Let's see.
It only lasted 3 melees, which is not long at all.
Hey, Ren, did you just feel that?
Did I feel what?
I think the bear just hit us with something. Feels great.
What?
Feels great.
What feels? I'm not feeling whatever you felt. I'm not.
Anyway,
sure.
let's not go that way. Let's just follow the bear.
I am following the bear. Where are you
Ymir
looking?
takes up a position sort of center along the path behind Wotek, but ahead of the rail. Sort
Okay.
of, in a center line. And as he looks around on the ground, he reaches down into the snow and kind of uses his senses and looks around and sniffs the snow. And I would like to cast Hunt Track Animal to see if Ymir can see where the local animal population, what direction that, if there are any tracks.
My
if
bad.
There are any
Right,
tracks.
right. As of now, where you guys are at, there's not actual snow. It's pretty much just kind of like wet
okay.
rock.
Oh, okay. All
It
right.
looks like there
So
probably has been some rain or snowfall recently, but for the
Okay.
most part, it's
I
just
assume
warm
that it
to
was
be
snow covered,
snowing.
but still, the action is the same. Ymir will kneel
100%.
down and reach up and kind of sniff the earth and look using his keen survival senses, and I'll cast that if I need to. I don't know if it's a cast ability.
And Odin, back to
Yeah.
the carpet
Go ahead. You
adhesion.
can go ahead and cast it.
All
Go ahead.
Odin, I would just have carpet adhesion ready in case I feel a slip in the vehicle, since it's a short. But I'll just run as regularly. But if I start to feel that it start to tilt or start to slide, I can pop that.
Absolutely. And
get
the
through.
duration is relatively short, but for what you're talking about using it for, 45 seconds of pretty much perfect grip is it absolutely would help in any kind of control roll or anything that you had when you start slipping or anything.
But
so
it'd be
ready
more
to
used
go.
for like to get out of a situation and then maybe push it for a little bit to get into a safer position, as opposed to just having it kind of passively on. So yeah.
Yeah. And we'll say you've got kind of 2 modes set up for that, where you can pick between what you would be using for like high speed control rolls, and what you'd be using almost like a 4x kind of switch over.
But that could
so
be something I tinker with too, to possibly increase duration, but maybe the strength of it isn't as strong. So it's just
Yeah. Yep.
That'll be something I'm taking note of that, so I can look into that too.
Okay.
Any modifier on that hunt track animal, Odin? I know it's just kind of general. I'm not specifically
Sure,
looking
sure.
for one, just signs of life. Any sort of modifier on there or no?
On this terrain, it actually is relatively difficult to really get much, since we don't even have like ground cover as far as like grass.
Okay.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna give you a +5, but you're pretty sure right off the bat you're not gonna get anything close to what would be like clean tracks. So it'd be
Yep.
more like just detecting the presence of something. You know what I mean?
Right. I'm mainly just looking for animal migratory patterns. If I
Gotcha.
can see what direction they're heading, wildlife is usually going to head away from danger, natural or otherwise. So I just want to get some sense of that.
Okay.
But there's no on the input value, so there's no modifier, or do I put +5?
Go ahead and do let's go ahead and do a +10. +10.
Okay, +10. So just 10. I don't need the plus in there.
Yeah.
Modifier 10. Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Boom.
Okay. As you're looking around, you stoop low a couple of times looking for familiar signs of life. As you're searching, things don't really add up. You don't really feel like you get a clean kind of sense of how much life really exists around here, or what may use this water source as nourishment. But as you are looking, you glance over at Wotek, and as you do so, he catches your eyes, and in that moment, he gives you a kind of lowering of his head and a low grunt, which indicates to you that what you're looking for will not be found here.
Okay.
He seems to be pretty dissuaded by whatever kind of environmental collapse seems to be going on.
Well, that instantly puts Ymir somewhat on edge, because that is clearly not the balance of nature typically, and given
Absolutely.
everything so he is automatically put on edge, still keeping his pace. He's not gripping his hammer any tighter, but he's definitely, his senses are heightened, given all of what he's just gleaned from both his hunt and track animal along with what his shield brother has told him.
Okay. As this is transpiring, guys, you actually see the light source up ahead. It dims considerably, maybe 60% in intensity, and as it dims, you notice that at the very bottom of the trough, it begins to sputter and seem to kind of spark and short out in a strange way. You see that the illumination overall also becomes much dirtier and more impure in its kind of mystical overtones that you're sensing. You see that the whole effect overall gives you a momentary chill, as you instinctively all reach the same conclusion in that instant: it may go out. Luckily, the sputtering ceases after a few heart pounding seconds, pulse racing seconds, and the illumination very slowly, over the course of about 10 seconds, comes back up to full brightness once again. As the illumination comes back and as it faded, you notice right away that as the light source dimmed, you also felt a almost proportionate increase in the frigid cold that is reaching you this far from the anomalous phenomenon. You feel that heat return a welcome and comforting wave, like a warm blanket around you once again as the light makes its presence felt at the other end of the dimming. So while this happens, you do indeed notice that the surface of the water, you're hearing lots of loud, kind of almost like glass breaking, shattering noises during the dimming. And as you all kind of glance over afterwards, you see that the almost gelatinous kind of flow of water has been replaced with a frigid and broken, completely frozen solid version of the water instead. It appears that just that short few seconds without the light's energy, this entire place just underwent a incredibly bitter, deep freeze. None of you feel like you were in any way negatively affected, especially being in the cab of the vehicle. Ren, you the most susceptible, you don't really feel any effects, but you do right away see a pretty harsh frost form across the edges of your windshield.
Kick on the defrost.
Okay. As you kick that on, it quickly starts to take effect. As this happens, though, Ymir, you look over at Wotek once again, and you see he has a familiar kind of crust of frost breaking across his shoulders and his feet once again. He simply gives it a familiar shrug, and the offending particles are no more. All right, guys, now that we know what is happening and Wotek has gotten up front, Ymir, what are you wanting to do now that you're...
Ymir noticed this the icy kind of break on the edge of the goo. You said it was sort of a gelatinous material.
It appeared kind of gelatinous, but you believe it was because it was like semi-frozen.
Right,
It was like
okay.
water that was almost like a slushy.
Sludge, okay. And it was frozen instantly solid, like hard solid when, okay.
Hard
So
solid and shattered tremendously.
So Ymir seeing this with his eyes, just so the party is well aware, but he's just pointing it out for the entire party who's directly behind him. Ymir reaches his arm out and points towards, sticks out one of his bread loaf fingers and points towards the icy, where the icy mass formed as the darkness fell, and it now is returned to more of like what it was, but he is just clearly pointing it out so the rest of the party can see. And then he kind of makes a two-handed or a two-fingered motion, like, let's go, like, let's continue forward, let's go. He also yells back to Ren, who I assume can still hear even though he's inside the vehicle.
Yeah,
okay,
absolutely. And your guys' comms still work too if anybody needs any of that. So
give me 1 second. Someone's back at my back door for some reason. It must be one of my neighbors. Sure. Give me 1 sec. Sorry.
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a real short break. I'll let the dogs out while we're on a short hiatus here.
All I wanted to do was put my fist up and say, if you see me close my fist, that means stop. If you see this, that means stop. That's all. Like, come. But if you see me close my fist to you guys, halt that shit. That's what's coming. So
I'll be right back, guys. I'll be right back.
Yes, sir. What are you doing, Mama?
Sorry about that.
Nah, no worries. We're on a short break.
Oh, okay.
Odin's letting the dogs out when you dipped. We said
Okay,
we'll take
okay,
5 minutes, so yeah, we're good.
Yeah, someone, I guess, one of my other neighbors left laundry and they were asking if it was
problem.
mine, and I was like, no, and they're like, okay, well, we were gonna move it to the dryer. I'm like, that's not mine, that's mine.
Minor meta here, Ren. All you're gonna see here in the next 20 seconds from Ymir is just a light communication between you and I, where is if he gives you you're a Dark Souls player, so you know the emote. If I give you, and he's gonna explain, if I close my fist, halt your vehicle. If I give you that silent resolve, if I give you that silent resolve hand gesture, that means stop. But of course, we're gonna role play it out. But that's literally, it's basically Wotek is our canary in the coal mine. I'm the buffer between the canary and the two.
Sure, sure, gotcha.
Okay, cool, awesome.
Okay.
Sorry about that. I was neighbors wondering about if the laundry in the wash was mine, and it was not.
Oh, and we can go till 7:30 now, guys. I've got my situation straightened out. Things have changed, so if we need to go past 7 o'clock, I'm okay with that now. I thought I was gonna have to do a walk, but we're just gonna get the cheaper coffee that's closer, so I don't have such a clip across town. It's so fucking cold and rainy. I wasn't looking forward to it.
Yeah, no worries at all. No worries at all. Here, let me check on one more thing and we're ready to go.
Mm-hmm. I think Dex is AFK, but maybe not.
No, I'm here.
Okay. I just didn't see you on camera, so I thought you were AFK.
I grabbed a little snack and then I want to, like,
I see.
Yum, 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 yum. All up in the
Yum,
camera.
yum. Well, close your fucking mouth when you chew, Akama.
Nigga, so good. You okay
That's
over
what
there?
you're supposed to tell me. That's fucking rich coming from you, Giant, the way you fucking eat. Could you imagine? Fucking Ymir is probably not the best at table manners. I'm just saying. Mans can eat a whole chicken in 2 bites. Clean it. Nothing but a fucking skeleton left over like a Looney Tune shit.
All right, I am back. And we are going live. Everybody good?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Going live in 3, 2. Okay, guys, we are back. Let's see here. So, with all of that being said, what would you guys like to do?
From his position in the center of the road, after Ymir points out the anomaly with his big finger, he calls out to Ren. Brother Ren, if you see me close my fist, halt your vehicle, yes?
I'll nod. If he doesn't notice it, I will say, aye.
Ymir slowly nods his head forward, as in he heard him, understood, agreement, everybody knows what's going on. Wotek is at the lead, but Ymir is also letting them know if Wotek is the proverbial canary in the coal mine, I'm the buffer between the canary and the 2 other party members in the vehicle. So if Ymir closes his fist in a silent resolve fashion, that means halt the vehicle.
Okay. All right. So you're right up next to. I'm sorry. You're right up next to Wotek. Are you wanting to hop on him or?
I am not up next to Wotek. I am in between the front of the rail and behind Wotek. I am in kind of the center of the pathway as a buffer between the bear and the rail.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so as you guys start moving forward, we're wanting to move at maximum speed that the rail can kind of keep up with no issue, right?
Yes.
Like, I mean, essentially, Wotek is going to try and move about as fast as Ren seems to be, like, comfortable with, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So,
Safe travels, yeah.
So as you guys start heading forward, and Ymir, you are not you don't have like a weapon ready to throw or
No,
ready to swing or anything like that, right?
No, I mean the hammer's still over his shoulder, but he's not holding it in any sort of combat stance or anything like that. He's not readied in that sense, but it is out. It is over his shoulder, sort of like a John Henry style pose while he walks, where it's just kind of hefted over his shoulder as he walks.
Okay. All right. You guys head out and get underway. You very quickly start making fairly decent progress. Everything is relatively uneventful as you start out, still not seeing any real signs of life for the first, we'll say, about 15 minutes or so. As you're traveling along, the terrain stays pretty much the same, rocky kind of outcroppings, small trails of land that they don't even really belie civilization passing through and using it as a route. It's more of just kind of natural areas of less hindering kind of terrain. So as you guys start making a fall over another rise, you see up ahead of you there appears to be some kind of debris laying on the ground, maybe about a quarter mile ahead. Now, as you're moving in this direction, you see that the water, the kind of river, is curling off to the left. You guys are heading roughly east right now, kind of a little bit northeast, I believe. And you see that the river's source is indeed curling off to what would be like the north. And so with it moving further and further away, you're noticing that Wotek is actually kind of changing his angle of advancement as well, where he's heading pretty much directly towards the light source now. And so in that sense, you guys would guess that whatever he was worried about is getting far enough away that you're ready to start making some really decent time and head directly towards it.
Okay, nice.
As this happens, he starts picking up speed just a little as you guys find what appears to be some kind of traveled path as a foundation for the debris that you're actually seeing up in the distance. You see that it appears as though there was some kind of trail, and there's just a few kind of scattered objects laying on this trail up ahead. As he adjusts the group's course and you guys get onto the kind of termination, the very end of this trail, you do indeed start picking up a little bit of speed. And as he looks back and checks with you, Ren, and you're able to increase, he kicks it up to about 20 miles an hour and you guys are having no problem at all. This is going to get you to the debris up ahead in just mere moments. Now, if you'd like to push it past this, you can, but it's up to you how fast you're wanting to go. He kind of keeps deferring to you.
No, I'll keep pace. I'm not going to try to push it now.
Okay.
Stay in formation. Cool.
Okay, as this happens, and you guys close in on the debris, very quickly you guys are able to tell that it appears to just be some like clothing from a distance. And as you close in closer and closer, you notice that where the debris lies, there are indeed what appears to be some kind of like human remains within it. And you all realize that it's some kind of just clothing and some apparently personal possessions, maybe a backpack associated with a corpse, a lone corpse on the trail. As you get closer, you guys get within, 100 feet or so of it. And you see that it appears to be some relatively small humanoid that was wearing just some kind of, greenish colored tunic and some ill-kept trousers. The clothes were pretty torn up and smudged and fucked up from the environment. It appears to have some kind of loose like leather gloves on, but the head appears to be completely missing, and you can see where the legs were not, the pants were not kind of secured into the boots. You could see that the flesh below the pants is just gone. The bone is down to just a bright white color that reflects light from the sky above in strange kind of patterns that are a little bit disarming. Other than that, any other area that you could see of exposed flesh in the outfit is just replaced with that bright white bone underneath. You guys aren't seeing any flesh left whatsoever. The clothing also seems as though it's been kind of broken down and degraded quite a bit. You wouldn't guess that this corpse is that old as far as when it actually fell here. But the clothing makes it look like it's been out in the elements for probably 2 or 3 decades. It's just about threadbare.
So has Wotek stopped at this point, at this particular campsite?
He just is continuing along on the trail. He doesn't seem to really be engaging with this at all.
Okay.
And you get the sense that he's just seeing this as a corpse on the road. You know what I mean?
With Ymir's eyes and knowledge of animal attacks and mega damage creatures, that kind of thing, is there anything on the corpse, even at a distance, like with the headless aspect? Are there any bite or claw marks or anything like that that would give any clue to what may have caused this?
Also, does this appear to be human in like size and shape, or does
Yep.
it seem to be?
It
Okay.
appears to be, if it wasn't
We found
human, it
dead
was
weight.
definitely humanoid. So
Okay.
yeah. As you give it the once over, Ymir, you would guess that whatever felled this being was not a predator. It seems to have literally dropped either from exhaustion or poison or something.
Okay.
So tired his head fell off.
Cold, something. Well, as you
Yep.
look at it, you're noticing that there doesn't appear to be any kind of like serrations, any kind of chipping,
Right.
nothing like that. The spine simply ends where basically the brainstem would be. It just the entire
It's
skull
gone.
is smoothly
Gone.
removed. So yeah.
Okay. All right.
You do notice though.
It's just bone, no flesh left, so we wouldn't be able to tell if there were lacerations anyway. Correct.
Well, there's no lacerations on the bone itself. There's no scarring or chipping
Yeah. I
or
was
cutting
thinking.
into the bone. So
Right.
Um,
That's what I was looking.
you do notice though that there does appear to be the very end remnants of some kind of scarf that seems to be kind of tucked under one shoulder that you hadn't noticed before. So just some kind of plain blue material. Anybody want to do anything else?
So Ymir, you're pretty much right on top of this thing, right?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I would guess. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
yeah, he's kind of standing right over it,
Wotek-
looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just stick my head out the window, and if there's anything you think we need to look at, and I'll pop a little hatch open on the side of the vehicle if he wants to like stow anything to look at or analyze later, or hold on to or keep. I'll kind of just give him a nod.
Well, Ymir
like-
is definitely inquisitive about the pack. Given how survival works in the wild, you don't. If there's any sort of resources or anything like that, he maybe doesn't go through the pack right now, but he wants to at least grab the pack and store it in the bed of the vehicle for later inspection. And he takes the unique piece of blue cloth. Just there's something about it. There's something in his mind. There's an itch in his mind that says that this might be more than what it appears. So he quickly gathers up the pack and the remnants of the scarf and kind of just grabs it with one hand. This pack, I don't know how heavy it is, but he grabs the
It's
pack
a
with one.
relatively small. It's like a school backpack kind of size, but
okay.
it's just
Yeah,
simple canvas.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
And as you pick it up, you would guess whatever's inside of it probably only weighs like 4 or 5 pounds. It feels
Okay,
really, really
yeah.
light.
So nothing to Ymir then. Okay, so Ymir quickly, because he doesn't want to break formation, but so he does this quickly after taking all of this in on the scene, quickly grabs the pack and the piece of blue material that was left on the body and puts it with the pack.
As you reach under the shoulder and pinch onto the material of the scarf, it just disintegrates in your fingers and turns to just dust, pretty
just
much.
rot.
Yeah.
Just rot.
Yeah.
Just wore out. Okay. All right. Well, noticing that, then he cuts his losses and grabs the pack and quickly throws it in the back of the bed of the rail or rover.
Oh, rail. Yeah, rail's fine.
Rail. And
Rail Rover.
yeah,
Called Red
rail and rejoins his formation in the center between the two. Quickly just kind of chucks it in the back and says, I'll look at this later, with the mindset of we'll go over this later. I'll crack it open. We'll see what's inside later on, and rejoins his formation in the center.
Ren did pop open a little container pack so you could throw it in there, so it's a little bit more protected.
Okay. Yep.
And that's what he not do. And then if you did that, then he would just remotely close the lid on the
Excellent.
thing, so it's not left out to the elements, just in the bed, just in case it's since it's aged and stuff like that.
Excellent.
Okay.
All right. As this gets secured, go ahead. A common nods.
Common nods. Yeah.
Okay. As you all proceed, Wotek has been just kind of keeping an eye out and kind of uninterested in anything going on behind him. He leads the way forward up over a kind of crest. As I was saying, as that happens, you notice that the trail seems to kind of open up a little bit into what would be sort of like a wider path, like a fairly well-traveled kind of primitive road. And as such, you see that its surface is relatively packed and has been reduced to rubble that has been tread upon often and well, so that you're actually going to be able to kind of move, at a reasonable speed. This is made for things like wagons, but automobiles of a rugged enough variety are going to do just fine with it. As this spreads before you in an inviting and alluring kind of gleaming kind of charcoal kind of textured color and profile, you see that the image that it portrays is almost like a burnt highway of like some ancient kind of crafting of wood that was incinerated directly for this purpose. You're sure that that's not the case, but whatever the builders of this road used, it has that same kind of just, incinerated wooden kind of coloring and marking to it. This leads forward now that you can see out ahead of you a considerable distance to what appears to be a large complex in the distance. Now, this area seems to have lots of kind of shrouds and cloaking elements of smoke and some kind of mist. But there seems to be some other factor at